And after an explosion at that second reactor at the Daiichi facility, and Japan's prime minister admitting now that the radiation levels at the plant have reached levels that can, quote, impact human health. Exactly what that means is still unclear. Glenn Shadeen is a professor of nuclear engineering at Georgia Tech University. He joins us via Skype from Texas to break down all of this for us. Good morning, Glenn.
Good morning.
How did this go from a situation where they felt they were at least going to be able to get a handle on this, find some productive backup system to continue to cool, to what we're talking about today, which is the leak of at least some amount of radiation from one of these reactors?
Well, I got to tell you, things have dramatically changed in the last several days. Initially, they were recording just slightly elevated radiation levels at the site boundary because they were venting small puffs from the building to relieve pressure, and that was very short-lived nuclides that decayed pretty fast as they were vented out of the plant. So levels were extremely low. This is a very different situation. We have some fraction of the core has melted, releasing some fission products to the atmosphere as they're relieving pressure in this system. It's very, very much more grave situation.
Right, and
the radiation levels they're recording, they're pretty significant.
And Glenn, let me ask you about this. So you say, is this uncharted territory, or is there a plan moving forward? Have they come back from this brink before?
To my knowledge, I don't think we've pushed the plant this hard. There's been tests, there have been tests done on individual fuel elements and things where we've, pushed them hard and tested a lot of heat transfer and other things over the years. But this is pretty much for this reactor or these series of reactors, uncharted territory.
Glenn, you talked about a significant release of nuclear.
This is not something I like to see. I'm telling you, I'm very upset about what I'm seeing, just because it's very unfortunate, and I know they're doing everything they can.
And Glenn, I think your perspective is reflected by a lot of nuclear physicists we've talked to and experts who've said they started cautious and now they're, they're getting more concerned. You said a significant amount of radioactive material. I mean, what do you think is coming out of that plant?
Well, when you have fuel failures, you're going to have breach of the fuel rods, and you're going to have noble gases. Iodine-131, cesium-137 are the main principal volatilized components that are going to be vented. And the fact that the radiation levels between the buildings, I was looking at some of the reports, some of those radiation levels are quite high. And the only thing that can come from is having fission products and other things being vented from the building. It's unfortunate that is occurring, but that indicates that there has definitely been some level of melting and breach of primary containment, which is the fuel element itself has been compromised in several of those assemblies, or many of those assemblies. I don't know what level. Based on the levels that I see of radiation, it's very difficult sitting here armchairing it from many thousands of miles away, not being there on the ground. But I can tell you that based on my experience, I believe that only partial melting has occurred, because the radiation levels, if it were total melting, would be significantly higher.
But these are radiation levels, Glenn, that will hurt people. I mean, you're very concerned about this being in the atmosphere and where it goes from here.
Well, I can tell you, as far as I'm really concerned for the people at the plant, because the levels at the plant are very high. They're accumulating some significant dose there. Now, radiation workers themselves already accumulate many times what the average population does as a result of their job, and radiation workers accept that, and actually it's deemed to be a safe level. But you're accumulating these now at rates where it's going to start impacting even the workers, I think, over prolonged periods. As far as atmospheric transport goes, typically most of the if there are any solids ejected out, aerosolized, whatever, what have you. Most of those, I believe, would fall within the first 2 to 3 kilometers of the plant downwind. So it's going to be immediate in the immediate zones around the plant.
And we know that's where they've evacuated even beyond that kind of a level, probably because they're watching those same sorts of trajectories. Glenn Shadeen, thank you so much, nuclear engineering professor, Georgia Tech, College Station, Texas. Thanks so much for joining us.
And some of the